Okay, it's been a while since I've posted my last video. Work's been pretty hectic and had a lot to do, but I have finally got the water tank mounted in there. It's all in there nice and firmly, not going to fall out. And I was going to put a patrol steering box in here because I have a patrol and I thought no harm in carrying a spare one, but it's so big and so heavy, it's just going to add so much extra weight to the trailer. So I've got a little Hi-Ace one that I'm going to put in there instead, because it only has to turn about 6 or 8 inches either way, so it should be alright. But I'm sort of working on the drive system at the moment to make it move, and I've spent a lot of time on the lathe fabricating a dog clutch so I can disengage the drive system once my speed gets up, and this is what I've come up with. So I've got a 1-inch shaft going through here, and there's a couple of bearings in here so that can spin, so that's going to be fixed to this plate here. And the collar I've got to hold the shaft from moving back and forth, and here it's got a grub screw in here to stop it from sliding, but I decided to weld a pulley onto it so that I can run a belt off that and run an alternator under the car, so while I'm towing, the alternator will charge all the batteries on board. And I've just finished this piece here, which is the end of the drum from the that goes into the winch section. And I've just welded a piece of hex in there and through bush, machined it all to fit. Put a bearing in the end with a little hole, goes down inside, so that there will fit into the end of there. And on the end of here, I've got myself a socket as the dog, so that sits on here. It'll spin on there until I push it across. So I've machined up a pulley to fit on here and welded it to the socket. This is just an 1.75 inch socket. So I'll put a fork in here that it'll move it backwards and forwards to engage and disengage. So it'll only move this far back and forth, but that's locked in and that's not. So it only has to move 1 inch, and she's all good to go. Now for this is the end of the shaft here. As you can tell, it's an old lawnmower pulley with a grub screwed boss in the back there. Ground all this down so it all fits down. Now the shaft is I think it's a ramrod or something like that, so it's all high tensile shaft, so it's not going to break or snap in a hurry. So I've made the square to match the 3/4 drive socket, so that gives me my locking onto this shaft. So as it slides backwards and forwards, it still maintains its connection to the drive. I've put the little shaft in here with a small bearing in there just to guide it, because I was going to put a bearing here to support it all, but the end of the winch has got a pretty good support in the end of this, with a big bush in the end of it on the planetary gears. And I thought, well, the only real strength it's going to need, once this is all engaged, it's not going to really rely on anything else apart from directly through this and the connection of that. So when that all goes together, it all fits in nice and easy into there. So this will just shift backwards and forwards to engage and disengage the clutch. I was going to use a single hex socket, but they only had long ones and I didn't want to go cutting one down and things like that. And I thought, well, if I made it a single hex, it would be just harder to line up. So I went with a double hex socket, so that it doesn't have to be exactly lined. It can be a little bit of a turn out and it'll shift across. So this is just hanging on here at the moment, so it's not going to be too strong, but it'll engage and disengage, so that'll be nice and easy like that, nice and simple. Which means that this can all turn independently until that slides across, and then it's all locked together and then unlocked, nice and easy. So this part here will be all mounted solid and to all of this, so it's all going to be braced up. And for the winch, I've just shortened all these bars down and put the engine in from behind, motor in from behind, drilled a hole in the back of the housing and run the little hex shaft through the back. So it's got all the 3 planetary gears down through here. I think it's like a 200 and something or rather to 1. So series 1 12 volt out of a 12, it's all 12,000 pound winch. I've also got the clutch here I could have used, but it doesn't seem to be, you've got to go a full 180 to engage the clutch, and to do that I'd need like a screw set up or some sort of actuator to do it. So this is a much easier system with just a straight across and back. So it's just hanging there, so it's not very supportive at the moment. But yeah, so in the end of here, it's got all the sleeves and seals and bearings and everything like that sitting in there. So it'll just slide in. As you can see, there's the shaft coming through the middle that drives to the engine. So if that ever snaps, which I very much doubt it, all it'll take is just a piece of hex rod all the way through there, about 150 long. And so that's my new clutch setup there. That's what I'm working on at the moment. I was going to solid mount it all to the frame, but I think what I will do is make this as a completely separate unit and mount it on rubber engine mounts. So it's when the engine starts to torque up and stuff, it's not going to start tearing framework apart if I can't disengage it. But I've already had it bolted in here to the drive shaft. I'll just make a big system that'll like a drive box that'll fit in here, and I'll make some bars here and some bars here, and so they'll just slide in there with big rubber mountings, and then same thing on the back end here with some big rubber mountings. So it'll just be a big box in here that powers and supplies power to the drive. But otherwise, I don't know if I had it last time, but I've run all my wiring and power for me for the lights and whatnot. That's just hanging out the back at the moment. Just coming out here, so that'll give me all my tail lights and everything else like that, reverse lights, etc. I've got to run another wire down this side for all the controls to come off this side, and then I'll put another cable coming up the front to plug into another plug on the back somewhere else, and that'll be all my cab controls for all the electronics in this thing, so I can make adjustments from the cab. The clutch, I'm still trying to decide on how to work that, whether I make it electric and just push a button to engage or disengage, or whether I run another separate cable up next to the brake lever and have the clutch as a manually driven lever, so I can feel the clutch engage and disengage rather than just pushing a button and hoping it engages. But we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, everything else is good. The suspension's all finished and all good, so that works well. It's actually sitting up on its own wheels. I can roll it around now. I've just got to put the steering rack and everything in, so that'll be on my next one. My next post will be hopefully all the drive system in here mounted in, and a steering box at least started or in. And once I've got those two finished, then I can turn around and deal with this. So it'll be all into the cab after that, and it'll be all ready to get underneath there and do all my welding, because I've still got quite a bit of welding to do under here to pin the floor down and things like that, and finish it up, and then finish along the front edge here and things like that, and seal it all up. I've got a whole bunch of body sealer to go around it all to seal all the seams up to make it all watertight. I've got to get another windscreen, but I'll wait till this is finished and I'll take them in the shop and get them to swap the windscreen out of my car into this one, because it's got a good rubber but a bad windscreen. So I'll get the windscreen out of my car, put into this one with a good rubber, and then get a new windscreen and rubber put into my driver. So then I'll get the nice clean one in my car. But other than that, yeah, this is where I'm at the moment. It's coming along pretty good. Oh, that's what else I got done until I got the other front body mounts put on, so they're all ready to be welded, to be bolted up. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. I've got to put a landing leg somewhere in the front here too, and I'm thinking about something that'll fold up and lock in place with a big blade on the bottom, so that if I get stuck in the sand I can drop that down, and if I want to I can just hook a rope somewhere on the front here and drag it, and little skid at the front will just run across the sand or mud or over rocks or whatever it is without catching a wheel. So if I get stuck on mud flats somewhere I can just stretch out 100 meters of rope if I have to and just drag it through, but winch it through. But that's where I'm at the moment, and I'll keep you all updated and let you know how it's going. Cheers for watching, people. Thank you.